Let's talk about minimalism. Actually, first, let's talk about how there wasn't a 4-year gap in between uploads this time. Aren't you guys proud of me? Because God knows my parents sure aren't. But yeah, my first point. Minimalism. Now, some of you are probably asking, what is minimalism? Basically, stripping any life and color out of it and making it as minimal as possible. Hence the word minimalism. So the first segment I decided to start on today was minimalism in homes. Now, the minimalistic style isn't necessarily a new trend, but it's pretty much become the standards in homes and all forms of design in the past decade. And specifically, the room I can think of that has been impacted the most by this trend is kitchens. Now, you look at any newly remodeled kitchen or newly built kitchen, it just looks like a bland white hellscape. White cabinets, white countertops, white floors, white tables, white chairs, white. And look, it's all squared. There's nothing to pop. It's just a white square. People walk into these kitchens and go, I want a white square. Just completely devoid of any character, any color, anything. Now let's juxtapose that to a kitchen from, let's say, the 1950s. Take a look at this one. Just look at it for a second. I mean, look at all the color. Look at how defined everything is. Everything stands out while also fitting in with each other. It had definition. It had character. It was the kitchen. The kitchen was a place to be and not just so empty. So, while we're on the topic of houses, I want to talk about something that's not really minimalism, but it kind of leads into it, and it doesn't matter. It's my video. I can talk about whatever I want. A common archetype I've seen in more recent days is that the female is normally the one that decorates the house, and she gives the guy one little man cave to kind of put all his cool shit in while she turns the rest of the house into a minimalist hellscape with live, laugh, love shit everywhere. And no, it's not going to happen. Listen, guys, we got to stand up for ourselves, okay? Listen, if I buy the house, I'm paying the mortgage, I can put whatever I want in it. If I want to put Dragon Ball Z statues on the fireplace mantle, damn it, I'm going to do it. Screw your little live, laugh, love plaque. I don't want it. You're not going to tell me I cannot put my Crazy Taxi arcade machine in the living room. It's mine. It's my house. It's going to look cool as shit. So, yeah, now that little rant's out of the way, let's go back to our topic of minimalism in homes. Let's talk about the exterior. Now, you drive around any new development, you see these houses all lined up in a row, devoid of any life. It just looks like a white dystopian nightmare, as opposed to, let's just say, houses built in the Victorian era. Now let's just say you drive downtown in a town that was established in the mid to late 1800s. You could still see remnants. You could see these houses. Every single aspect of them is ornately crafted, and it just looks like a castle. I mean, this was the standard of every home constructed back then. I mean, honestly, you just slap a bunch of cheap white squares up and call it a day. It's out the door in half the time, half the money, half the effort, but double the price because it's new and modern and cool and people are guaranteed to buy into it. And one thing that really pisses me off is with millennials, this whole new retro and vintage thing. They'll look at designs from the 80s, 90s, and 2000s and they'll say, oh my god, that's so cool and retro and vintage. Shut the fuck up. You took it from us. And you're not allowed to say, oh, it was better back then, because your generation is the one that turned McDonald's into a cool, fun, happy place and turned it into a minimalistic corporate nightmare. Which I cannot possibly think of a better segment into something that's taken such a hit from this. Fast food restaurants. Oh my god, if anything took a beating from this whole minimalism craze, it's the fast food restaurants. You have killed them. McDonald's specifically used to be this beacon of joy, play, fun, and color on the side of the road, and now it just looks like I've got a 30-minute lunch break. I think I'll get a Big Mac. McDonald's is the one I mention so frequently is because I think that one took the hit the hardest. McDonald's used to be themed after McDonald Land. The whole store was themed after Ronald McDonald and his gang of characters, and you could go outside and experience that for yourself on the McDonald Land playground. Now, another side note is those old like burger jails look cool as shit. And I promise you, one day I will have one of those in my backyard because I'm going to be the coolest person in the hood with the McDonald's jail. Now, back to my point. So we had this amazing thing that was McDonald's and they turned it into this. What is this? This looks like an insurance company dining room, not where you go to have fun. Now, you may be saying, oh, you've just gotten older, it's lost the magic. You didn't have to take the magic away. I'm 20 years old, and I still think it would be cool to walk into McDonald Land. You know, the fact that it cost me $22 to eat at McDonald's, it would hit a lot less than it does now. But it's not just McDonald's, it's every single one of them. I mean, Burger King was by no means as cool as McDonald's, but it stood out. I mean, you drove by a Burger King and you knew it was a Burger King. Now, it's a Burger King. I actually have one of the original Burger Kings in my area, still with the old design, and it hasn't been updated. It's like 25 minutes away. I'm gonna drive the extra time because I'm gonna eat at a Burger King the way God intended me to eat at a Burger King. Pizza Hut, that's another restaurant that took a big hit. Pizza Hut is one of the only restaurant chains that I can actively think of that if they close down, you can still drive by the building and tell me that it was a Pizza Hut. You had marketing genius right there, and you're like, no, let's make it a square. Taco Bell. Taco Bell really isn't too bad nowadays, but like you look at the old Taco Bell, I think of this design from the 80s. And another one I can think of is Arby's. Well, that might be a bad example. Did anybody actually go to Arby's? But Arby's, they used to look like these big glass boxes with a big neon sign out front, and you could see through it. And it was like, oh, wow, that's an Arby's. I'm going to go get some diarrhea tonight. Now, they've kind of taken anything out of it that would have pulled you into it. Back to my point, that's kind of what happened to every single one of them. With prices constantly rising, there's nothing to devoid the fact of that. One of these days, they're going to just fade into obscurity because there's going to be nothing in your face besides the fact of declining food and inclining prices. So yeah, in conclusion, minimalism sucks. It takes character out of everything and just makes life as a whole more empty. So bring back the cool shit at McDonald's. So yeah, thanks for watching to the end of another one of my crazy little videos where I sit there and bitch about shit. Be sure to hit that subscribe button so that way you're in the loop next time I decide to bitch about something, and leave a comment about what you want me to bitch about next. And just remember, your Tinder date won't ghost you if you go to the old Burger King.